Cystic fibrosis for any CFer can be a lot on its own to deal with, but it's not always the case that cystic fibrosis is the only illness that we deal with in our lifetime. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Hey guys, my name is Miranda and welcome to Staying Salty.
I got cystic fibrosis. See, I've got cystic fibrosis.
If you guys have followed my story or watched any of my videos or spoken to me, you might know that CF is not the only illness that I deal with. I also have Ehlers-Danlos, fibromyalgia, arthritis, diabetes, and I think there's one or two other things, but those are the main ones. And today we're going to talk about how they affect me and when I was diagnosed and all of the things of that sort, and if and how they interact with my CF. I'm sorry if this video is all shaky and whatever. I've had a bad couple of days health-wise and just emotional-wise, and I've just needed a day in bed, and I'm filming this video way too late as a result of the health problems, and I'm getting everything taken care of. It's taken its toll on me right now. So I'm talking to you from bed. Honestly, like 17, 18 were the years that just changed my entire medical history. That's when I was diagnosed with all of the above, with the Ehlers-Danlos and the fibromyalgia and the arthritis, if I'm remembering correctly. I know for sure it was when I got diagnosed with the Ehlers-Danlos. I am pretty positive it's the same year I started seeing my rheumatologist back in Louisiana, so that would line up with when I was diagnosed with the others as well. I had been dealing with like symptoms of all of those illnesses pretty much the majority of my life, especially because I was a dancer for so long. It pretty much directly impacted that in ways that I didn't really understand until I got older. And now that I am even older than when that clicked in my head, and I'm aging and growing up in this CF world, we're realizing just how much the Ehlers-Danlos in particular is affecting my CF and has played into my CF in the past. I also have like the chronic sinus things now that I think about it, but that plays into the CF a good bit. So I don't know if I count that as a separate entity, but it does play into the lung side of my CF a lot. And also the GI, whenever like the infection goes down into my stomach, and then that causes a whole other thing. I have so many things that counteract each other without even putting medicines into the equation that it's ridiculous. And luckily, like, I've known all of these things have had to have affected me in one way or another, but never really realized just to the extent of how much they affected me until moving here and researching into it and actually having doctors that knew what they were talking about and were trying to help. Yeah, it's been very eye-opening just to see how many different things in my life, health-wise, have been making my CF life a lot more difficult than it could have been if I didn't have all these other illnesses. But I guess to back up from the first extra thing that I was like officially diagnosed with was the Ehlers-Danlos. And the way that I was diagnosed was kind of just hysterical because I was in the hospital for my CF, and in the peds floor of the hospital that I had gone to, they had ceiling tiles that all of us would get to paint and decorate and do whatever if we stayed there for a certain amount of time. And there was a tile above my bed that had Ehlers-Danlos on it. And one of my best friends at CF had passed not too long before this, and his name was Dylan Danos. And so, like, the Ehlers-Danlos kind of played off of his last name, and so I thought it was funny, and I told my mom to look it up. And so the two of us are sitting there looking it up, and as we're talking, we're like, holy shit, I think I have this. This makes so much sense to things that never made sense about my body before. And swear to God, within 10 minutes, they had this random doctor come in because I was having problems with my hip from a busted bursa sac that I had ruptured a couple of months prior to this. And so they had this doctor come in, and he took one look at me, told me to do a couple of weird things, stretchy wise, with like my fingers and hands and arms and whatever. And he was like, okay, I'm pretty positive you've got Ehlers-Danlos. Like, we need to look into this. And my mom and I were like, oh my God. Like, what? This can't be like the line of events that just happened here. Like, we just kind of put that together ourselves, and we've never even heard of this. And, I mean, honestly, with all of my diagnoses, I mean, I don't remember when I was diagnosed with CF. I was an infant, and they took poop out of me, and we're like, okay, this baby has CF, after they ran the tests and stuff. So, like, I knew my whole life I had CF. Then, as I got older, I started dealing with all these other things that weren't lining up with my CF, but were causing problems and pain and just a lot of issues in my life. And it was so frustrating not understanding what was going on. Or really just thinking, like, people really didn't have this whole CF thing right, because why was I getting all of this, but none of my other CF friends getting all of this? And so the fact that right after another I started getting all of these kind of names for these things that had been plaguing me and hurting me for so long, that it had a name, and that it wasn't the CF affecting me differently, and that there was something, there's not really much we can do for the Ehlers-Danlos medicine-wise, but like with the fibromyalgia and the arthritis, like there were pills we could try and things we could do. And no one really knew back in Louisiana about Ehlers-Danlos. I'm learning a lot more since I moved to Miami. And my partner has been diligently researching and finding out ways to help me. And it's just been phenomenal. My entire team at my hospital has been great, figuring out ways that they can help me as well, and talking through things with me on different ways that we think it's affecting my CF, and such as like something really crazy. A couple of months ago, I've had this pain in my ribs that I thought was like a plug pain, because it's kind of the same feeling as a plug in my lungs, and I get it really frequently, and it's so painful to the point of like I'll just like have tears in my eyes constantly because it hurts so much. And we've now learned that it's part of the Ehlers-Danlos, and the way with my tendons and muscles and how they counteract with the way that my body's coughing and the strain, and like there's so, like now we're figuring out ways to fix that. And so like it's just, as much as I could say, having so many things wrong with me, how exhausting it is, and how tired I am, and how much pain I'm constantly in. I cannot tell you the last minute I was not in pain, or the last second I was not in pain. I literally cannot tell you. I have no idea. I don't even know if it exists. And as I get older, it's just going to keep getting worse in one aspect or another, and I know that. And I could say, like, I hate my life because not only do I have CF, I have all this other stuff in addition. But there are so many other people out there that have it worse than I do. And I see how phenomenal they are in their treatment and how much passion they have for their own lives. And that inspires me to pick up my own life in the best way I can and fight for it. And I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, not knowing when something is wrong with you, what it is, and what's causing it, and what you can do about it, is so much worse than having a name to it. I'm not going to say I've always felt this way. I have most definitely had those moments in life where I felt like the world is out to get me, and why the fuck am I even alive? And all of these people that say all these awful things about me must be true because this must be karma coming get me. What did I do wrong? Like, I've thought it all, and I've felt it all, and I've cried so much about all of this through my whole life. But you've just gotta keep fighting. There's rarely a time in my health, or even just my life in general, that I struggled as much as I did when I learned and during the process of me having to start insulin 8 months ago. It was one of the most heartbreaking things I'd ever have to put myself through, because I had fought for so long not to have to do that. And I knew the second I started it was going to change my life for the rest of my life. And I knew just how dangerous me getting it wrong was if I were to put too much insulin, or if, like, I don't eat as much as I say I will, or if I knew all of the risk and studied it all for a very long time, which is why my entire life I had always been so scared to get to that point in my health. And for one, I'd always been terrified of needles. So the fact that I was going to have to be stabbing myself multiple times a day was, one, something I had no idea how to wrap my head around, and two, was really, really hard not to fall back into my childhood eating disorder. Because of, if I don't eat, I don't have to stab myself. And that was something I really struggled with. I am so grateful I have such a supporting partner that was able to hold me and listen to me and help me through that transition process of bringing that into my life and my daily health routine. Because I have no idea how I would have gone through that alone. I think that might be the key to dealing with multiple illnesses, is you have to learn you can't do it all on your own. Like, for forever, and even still, I kind of had a mini freak out yesterday because I'm not feeling well, but I still want to do everything for myself. And I still am having to realize, like, I am dealing with so much. It's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to say when you're not okay and you need help, or just that you're not okay. And I'm having to figure out how to admit that right now. And I think it's something that each time I get sick, or each time I have a pain flare up, or each time one of my joints gets dislocated and I can't move my hand for a couple of hours, or, you know, whatever happens, I have to relearn in a different way, or reteach myself how to process needing as much help as I need sometimes, or even admitting that I need the help. I think that part of it is huge. And I don't know why I'm, like, weirdly fighting back tears this entire video, besides the fact that, like, when I'm not feeling well, my emotions are kind of just all over the place. But also, this topic means a lot to me because it is so, this is such a huge part of my life. Like, my life, whether I like it or not, I have so many factors in my health that my health at times becomes my life. And right now that's what's happening, because when I'm getting sick, it plays into everything. And even though I can't do anything about it, because I'm already doing all of my treatments and taking all my pills and working out and doing all this whatever and everything I'm supposed to do, and things still go bad, you have to stomach that, and it's a hard reality pill to swallow. And yeah, so that's what I'm currently dealing with. I'll be okay. I'm like on buku antibiotics at home, and I have a doctor's appointment Wednesday. But, it'll be okay. I just have to get through the mentality of this. I would say tips for people out there that may be dealing with other sicknesses or illnesses outside of CF would be, one, if you still haven't been diagnosed but feel like something is wrong, get 10 opinions. Like, get as many opinions as you can find any doctor that will listen to you and figure out what exactly is going on. I definitely did that on the rheumatology side of my life. Like, I saw so many doctors before someone figured out what was wrong with me. And sometimes that's honestly just what you have to do. Now, once you have the diagnosis, or even before you get the diagnosis and you just have a lot on your plate, I truly and strongly recommend finding a therapist, because it's a lot to take on, especially when you are in control of your health, and it's a lot of pressure, and it's a lot that you have to work through for the expectations you have of yourself, or just figuring out how to put something else into your life that may take up so much additional time on top of CF. You never know what will come of whatever diagnosis you do get. Therapy has saved my life on so many occasions, especially during the time of me getting diagnosed with everything except the diabetes, because that was here. I saw the same therapist that dealt specifically with chronically ill patients. So having him to talk to through that was just amazing, especially because it was during the transition period of me going from peds to adults. Having him to talk through during everything going on during that time was phenomenal. So if you are going through anything, even if you just have CF, like, go to a therapist. Our lives can be a lot. Another thing I have to say is just ask for help and understand that it's okay to ask for help. If you have to get a notebook and write down all of the pros and cons of what knowing exactly what you have is, do it. I mean, if you're dealing with something that you don't know what the name is, you know how much it weighs on you. And I promise you, at least in my case, putting a name to that thing that is weighing so much on you takes so much of that weight off. Because at least you can move forward to figuring out what to do about it, even if it's something you didn't want to hear. Once you do have a name for whatever it is that you're dealing with, research the heck out of it. Find support groups in person, in hospitals, through therapy, whatever. Find support groups. Go online, find Facebook groups about it. Go on Reddit and find pages there. Find the hashtag on Instagram and find a community there. There are online communities for every illness that all of us deal with, and you need to find people that you can talk to. In the CF community, you understand how important having this support system is. And so why not put yourself out there and find the support group for another illness that you have? Even if you don't both have the same 2 or 3 or 4 illnesses, they'll understand a part of you that the other people in the other community can't. And that's, what we've all been striving to do here, is put ourselves out here so you guys can find other people to connect to, and we can as well. I want to know if you guys have any other illnesses other than CF, or do you have other illnesses and not CF, and you've just found our channel and can relate to it through your own illnesses. If you have other illnesses, how were you diagnosed with them, and how did finally getting an answer to something that you've been dealing with affect you? I want to know, and I want to talk to you guys all about it in the comments down below. I am going to leave my social media account as well as the channels in the description down below. Like this video and share it if you related to it or found it useful and helpful. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already and hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time we put up a new video. And until next time, remember to stay salty.